The Dark Overlord, one of my favorite D&D tropes for BBEGs. But today, we're going to take a look at the 5 pitfalls and the 5 things you should be doing when you're trying to actually run a Dark Overlord in any TTRPG. So, as always, let's get right on into it. The first pitfall to running a Dark Overlord style BBEG is making them one-dimensional. I want to rule the world because I'm evil. This is something you don't want to do. Dark Overlords need to have some sort of complexity. So you want to avoid this, I'm going to destroy the world because I'm evil bit for this type of character. Are there some BBEGs where you can do that? Absolutely. But for the Dark Overlord, make sure that you avoid this one. The I'm going to do something just because I'm evil doesn't tend to stick really well with players anymore because we're looking for something that's got a little bit more complexity to it. Something to keep in mind. The second thing you want to avoid when it's the Dark Overlord BBEG is the inescapable invulnerability. What does that mean? Making them too big and too bad to be dealt with. They are so powerful that they themselves can wipe out the world. That doesn't do very well for the Dark Overlord. A lot of times the Dark Overlord's not the most powerful person in the room, but the most smart person in the room. Or they've got enough power to absolutely decimate a single foe, but beyond that, they still need armies to conquer the world. The Dark Overlord, when they are so powerful, it makes them out of touch. It makes them seem almost overwhelming to the players. So just avoid that indestructible nature. Could there be myths? Could there be legends? Absolutely. But if you hint at the players that they can be injured by showing it, all of a sudden they realize they are mortal as well. The third thing when it comes to the Dark Overlord you want to avoid a pitfall is inaccessibility, or there's no interaction with them. If you have a Dark Overlord and they are never there, they're never able to be seen or interacted with by the players, it creates this disjunction between what your players know and the story at hand. So Curse of Strahd, we can learn from that. I despise the campaign Curse of Strahd, I truly do. I'm an old school Ravenloft fan. The bottom line is, though, is that BBEG can be interacted with. Now here's the thing. Curse of Strahd had the I'm so powerful because they were an end boss. Having an evil Dark Overlord that has people with them, the players might be able to take them out at an early level if they tried. But then again, the Dark Overlord is also usually the law or has the church behind them. There is some type of force the Dark Overlord wields that's besides themselves. That's what makes a Dark Overlord that wants to conquer the world for some malicious purpose or selfish gain so powerful. Because, well, let's face it, if they aren't indestructible, they're trying to gain more powerful because they're not all powerful. Keep it in mind. Another strategy you want to avoid when it comes to the Dark Overlord is making them predictable. When the Dark Overlord is predictable, they use the same tactics every time, it can become monotonous, especially if the players are engaging directly with the Dark Overlord and being beaten and then thrown into a jail cell, and then they escape again, and they go after me. The tactics need to be changed. Sometimes the players are swatted aside, sometimes they're captured, sometimes they're just in the way. A lot of times the players aren't the focus of the Dark Overlord. The Dark Overlord's got so many balls in the air, the players are just a minor thing. In fact, they could have been handed off to a minor combatant, a minor general, a minor commander, a minor assassin who failure to actually kill the players or deal with the players, now they don't want to tell the Dark Overlord as in fear for their own lives. So remember, just because your players are messing with the Dark Overlord's plans doesn't mean that he's even aware they exist. So that should make the tactics different because the story is being told around the players and the players keep thwarting it. So something to think about. Another thing you want to avoid when you're using the Dark Overlord is the overuse of minions. Meaning that sometimes you need generals, sometimes you need big bad guys, sometimes you need to interact with the Dark Overlord themselves. Minions are great. I love minions, but when it's wave after wave, it feels like you're more fighting an army than actually strategic combat. So just something to keep in mind. Minions are fantastic. Just watch out for the overuse of them, because that really can get in your way when you're doing the Dark Overlord. So food for thought. Use them, but don't overuse them. It's a balancing act, and every table is different, so you have to play around with that. Now, there are also 5 things you absolutely should do when creating the Dark Overlord. Number 1, you must be doing a compelling backstory. Why is the Dark Overlord the way that they are? And what's the theory and hypothesis behind it? What are the stories about the Dark Overlord? And I never like to monologue as the Dark Overlord, but making sure that people explain how they became. Or maybe your party befriends someone that knew the Dark Overlord growing up, and now you understand why. This is not the relatable villain. You completely understand that they are nasty and horrible, and they were evil as a child, and they just wanted to, amass power. But now you have a reason why of knowing that. Not just from them, not just from their actions, but from someone that knew them when they were younger. That compelling backstory can actually help your players relate or de-relate from the Dark Overlord. The other thing that you absolutely must be doing when it comes to the Dark Overlord is creating a web of interference, a web of connections. The Dark Overlord isn't just looking at the players. He's not trying to thwart them. They may be trying to thwart him, but they're not the only problem. In fact, his problems are much larger. He's usually trying to develop something or build something, an empire, a cult, a demon summoning circle, to control the people of the world for his own benefit, to amass power. And that web of interference, that web of lies, that web of whatever it may be, affects everything around him, and the players can see that in the campaign setting. That makes the Dark Overlord much more, what's the word I'm looking for? Attainable, attachable. They are visible. They feel more real. So just keep that in mind. Another thing that you should be doing with the Dark Overlord is giving them a code of ethics. This doesn't mean it's good ethics, but it's something that they're striving for, a belief system that they follow. When the Dark Overlord isn't just about pure destruction, or if they are about pure destruction, a reason why. Maybe he needs people to amass to be able to siphon souls, and he needs a populace that's actually going to reproduce to fund his massive magical need for immortality. And he does that through only selecting the weak and the poor and allowing the strong to survive. Ethically, he justifies it. And that code of ethics helps guide his actions. So therefore, the actions become something that the players can understand. So that code of ethics doesn't have to be something anyone at the table will agree with, especially us. But it does allow for us to give a guiding factor to the Dark Overlord. The other thing that I absolutely recommend doing is with the Dark Overlord as your BBEG, craft a dynamic, impactful, final or semi-final encounter. When your players are building up to the final boss fight, there's a couple of things you need to do. Number one, allow the players to know kind of what they're walking in for so they can prepare. But if you're going to allow the party to prepare, that means the BBEG can prepare too. And if he's got someone that's coming after him, he's going to do his research. And he's going to be connected. And rumors and rules and understandings of each other are going to be out there. And they're going to think they have each other figured out. And for the most part, the BBEG probably has an upper hand. He's probably going to have minions that come on board, spellcasters, trap set for the players. That dynamic, interesting, exciting encounter should be exactly that. And there should be risks on the line. And you as the dungeon master might have to figure out how not to TPK your party, but making sure that it's dynamic and interesting, but still giving the players a chance, that's a fun thing to develop. Now, a lot of people argue with this. They say, well, I'm just going to plan it, and then if they can't beat them, they can't beat them. Yeah, that's not good storytelling. We're collaborative in telling a story. When the BBEG is the Dark Overlord, they are scheming, but they're evil, and they might be a little bit hubris. And so running away may be the last thing on their mind, but something that comes up. Maybe the BBEG always has an out. Maybe that's what makes them surviving this world. Maybe that's how they managed to not get assassinated, is by making sure there's always a way out. So that final encounter isn't the final encounter. So guys, this was the Dark Overlord. It's 5 pitfalls, 5 reasons that you absolutely should be using the Dark Overlord. But the Dark Overlord is not the relatable villain. The Dark Overlord is someone that clearly is evil for menacing things. But they're not just doing it because I'm evil. There's a backstory behind the Dark Overlord. There's a reason why they're doing it. And it can be as nasty or as disgusting as you want. And the bottom line is, it usually is. It can be someone that was just born with a dark heart and they're striving for something. They want something from this world that they're not getting. Power, money, fame, you name it. So remember, the Dark Overlord has a motivation. Give them one. Give them a backstory. Make them complex and make the heroes not matter at all to the Dark Overlord until they do. And so as always, guys, thank you so much for sticking around. If you stick around after this video, we'll be throwing some stuff from our new books, The Fire Incursion and the Hero's Soul. And as always, we will see you when next time.